Oh, bother.
Thank you for sharing the music this time, not just surprising us with it.
Yeah, I had a lot more time because it wasn't so freaking early.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's way too early for me, so I forget to share many things with you all.
Yeah, but not oversharing. We don't overshare.
No, of course not.
Mike just chimed in the chat. He's like, do you need any extra blabbing?
Yeah, hop
We
on.
can always do with extra blabbing.
Yeah, hop on.
So, right, whilst Mike considers whether or not he wants to join with his rather impressive man facial hair.
And then see my impressive graphic skills of transitioning from 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
On the fly.
On the fly. Nothing Matt could ever do.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I believe that's called sick burn.
Take my headphones off and leave this podcast right now.
And then I don't have to do anything. It'll be even more magical.
Yes, we are Pixel Pints. Welcome. We are the only global podcast that talks about two things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We're not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly, except for when you decide that you get a little bit of good news and stay up late on a Friday night drinking and watching music videos on YouTube with your wife. Then it's okay. Other occasions, not good. And like, subscribe, ring bells, and follow us on Twitter, which is pixel_pints, and on Instagram, where I've been mainly expressing my love for Apex Legends through posting clips of me winning games. Or I say me winning, I say me getting carried by my teammates on 2 occasions. But a win's a win. I don't care. Warzone can write off. Apex Legends for the win.
I did see you post a couple of things on Instagram.
Yeah, which is Pixel Pints Pod on Instagram. I'll get there in the end when I stop talking about me winning games. Liam, you need to delete Warzone and just play zombies with your friends and come over to the light side and play Apex Legends.
Not the Sith.
No.
That's right. I mean, my hard drive's just going to get filled up by Battlefield 2042 in like a month. Oh, no. Actually, that's
November.
A few months.
Liam, the Sith of cameras in bathrooms.
2.5 months, I feel depressed now.
Right, so that's enough from Liam about feeling depressed about the release date for Battlefield 2042. Mikey's not on. Get your ass on. Mitch, how's things in LA?
Good. You know who this is a really sad day for, Keith?
Activision Blizzard.
Corey.
Yeah, well, I did post in the A Starting Point chat as Activision Blizzard's chief apologist. How is Corey getting on at the moment?
I think Corey's in a corner with a bucket and a bunch of handkerchiefs to blow on.
The bucket's full of tears.
And the bucket is full of his tears. And he's using it to send the envelopes to Activision Blizzard saying, "Please fix this. Please fix this."
Well, it just seems like it was up until last week. Okay, we'll spend a minute talking about these morons. It's not that difficult to deal with arseholes being arseholes in a corporate environment. Why do people think that it's so hard? It's you choose not to. That's what has happened there. The people in management positions have chosen not to deal with arseholes being arseholes.
Well, here's the other thing. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, there's a video that was running around where it showed a Blizzard, like heads of Blizzard, taking a question from a female fan.
Where she totally dismissing her.
Yeah, totally dismissed her. So
awful.
if you haven't seen it, this is what she said. She basically was like, "Hey, is there any reason why every female character has to have like no shirt and looks like a Victoria's Secret model? Like, is there any? Are you going to have representation for people that? And this is like 5 years ago. And she's like, oh, and then they're like, oh yeah, they look like Victoria's Secret models, and they're like, oh yeah, well, which issue do you want us to use next time? And it's like, that's not even a question.
It was Afresh Yabi, who's one of the chief complainants. No, he's not complaining. People are making complaints about his behaviour, and she asked. It's really great in your games that you have strong female characters, but do they all have to dress like they come out of Victoria's Secret catalogue? And his initial response was, what catalogue would you like them to come out of? You've totally missed the point, you utter arsehole.
And then they just mocked her for like 4 minutes, and then was like, thanks for your question. Yeah, they took it in turns
to take the piss out of her, and then just waved her off, including Joel and Brack.
As I say, the funny thing about that is I thought she was being rather tepid with her critique.
Yeah, she was very kind about her question.
Victoria's Secret models. Let's try freaking strippers.
Strippers. WWE.
It does look a bit more like that. But it's like they have a history of being absolute dickheads to their fans. Like
Diablo Immortal on mobile.
Diablo Immortal. You have a mobile.
Do you not have phones?
Yeah.
But okay, I think before we end it, I think we all can agree that if these are true, which and these are horrible things that a company could do to anybody, and that it's unacceptable, and we disagree extremely and think that they should do better.
Well, all of these assholes should get fired, all of them, and Bobby Kotick, his response only came when they saw, a 50-point drop in their share value overnight. And then that got even worse. And it was a week and a half later, when the share price had taken an absolute kicking, did he write something that was vaguely apologetic and vaguely like anything is going to happen. And his response was, we've hired a team of lawyers to investigate claims. Mm-hmm. And anyone who was found to be not taking action against people who are engaging in bullying, harassment, and discrimination will be fired, will be immediately terminated. Wait, so you're not going to fire the people who actually did the bullying and harassment immediately? Mm-hmm. But if someone didn't tackle their behavior, we'll fire them immediately?
Yeah. And then I do have I'll report back to you guys. I do have a friend of mine that does work at Blizzard, so I'm going to talk with them a little bit. I'm actually going to see them today, so I'll let you know if they give me anything. Like they might not tell me anything. They might just say, "Hey, it's not in my department."
Well, probably also as soon as the lawyer firms come in, it's going to be NDA, 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 NDA.
Yeah. So I'm trying to catch them before the NDA pops in.
Did you hear? I don't know if you know this, but the person who wrote the statement for Activision, when they just sort of like dismissed all of the claims and said this isn't quite accurate, Yeah, exactly. She penned an essay.
Something.
Yeah, exactly. She penned an essay like literally the day after the accusations about how whistleblowers.
You're talking about Francis Townsend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like against whistleblowers. It's like you have some hell of amazing timing with this.
Well, she used to be the head of national security for George Bush. So, her job title was chief compliance officer. So
it makes sense she'd land on her feet at Activision, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know. I really
right, Matt, what's the temperature in Las Vegas? Cheer us up.
I didn't have that pulled up. I was going to talk about Activision Blizzard. I haven't been following the news as closely as you guys. I just saw the headline about a Bill Cosby room, and I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not reading any more news about this shit.
Matthew, you can at least feel a little bit better that it was before he was, at the very least, still pretty bad, but not that
bad. Keith, for your happiness, in California, it is in LA. It is 17C.
Wow.
As of right now,
it's 27 here. So 10 degrees Celsius higher.
And how close are the wildfires to you all? Since is it basically half of America is on fire, isn't it?
Well, it's half of
The
America's in
north.
smoke.
Yeah.
Fortunate for me, like they're all north of me, so the smoke never really comes downward. It always goes west. So the only time it came down was when there was that giant fire last year in San Francisco, near San Francisco and stuff, and the whole like California got covered.
More like Central California. Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't. That was the only time it hit me, and it hit me for one day. But most of the time, the fires actually go past us. So,
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk beverages. Does anyone have anything interesting, or is it just me?
I had a pretty decent beer Friday. Don't have anything this early in the morning, but
Did you happen to take a photograph or have the can and or bottle to hand so that you could show the people watching?
well, not on me, but
Well, that's your level of tardiness.
I haven't done one of these in a while, guys. So
we all haven't done one of these in a while. Apologies for that. We took a little bit of a break. We needed a break. That E3 coverage, just like it was a long coverage.
Right. So I have Oakham Citra Session IPA with a nice, happy, smiley hop character on the bottle.
I do like that. Yeah.
And it is very golden. It's actually a bit too cold. It's because I've got my fridge turned full whack. It shouldn't be this cold.
Is that an actual setting? Full whack?
Yeah. In the UK, if fridges go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full whack, it's like turning it up to 11. It's super, super, super hoppy. I really like this.
Keith, we're inventing that. We're gonna invent that fridge, and we're gonna make millions. Only just off that one setting. It's being like, you want a fridge that goes full whack?
Off or full whack?
Yeah, there's two settings. Off, full whack.
Off, full whack.
So this is what I had. Samuel Adams Cold Snap. And I enjoyed it out of my Samuel Adams glass.
Did you do cold?
No.
No? Did you pull out your Switch when that happened?
when you open the bottle,
yeah,
that's the noise it makes. This is a pretty decent white ale. It was pretty mild. I feel like most of the stuff that Sam Adams does that's not their regular Boston lager is subdued, and I think that they do that on purpose so that other people will buy the beers and not be put off by stuff that doesn't taste so dissimilar from their normal beer. So it was all right. It was just a little mild is all.
Right. Where's this Mike's bloke?
I don't know. But quick shout out to the Olympics for giving us video game music when all the athletes walk into the arena in Japan. Only in Japan do we get video game music.
What was it?
Oh, it was many. It was like a list. I think it was like 7 tracks. It was all video game music. One of them was Kingdom Hearts. When you go to Hercules' Olympic arena, they played some Nier Automata. They played. What else did they play? I gotta look up the track list.
Final Fantasy battle music, like the victory music.
Yeah,
nice.
No reason to get negative again, but I was so disappointed by that opening ceremony. I was like, oh man, Rio de Janeiro's opening ceremony was so awesome.
Well, I have a feeling
Japan just did a bunch of arty-farty shit. So I was like, oh, come on, Japan. You could have done something wild and everybody would have stared in awe. It would have been amazing. I was so disappointed.
I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because of that story coming out that Nintendo was going to be involved and then they had to be backed out because the Olympic Committee. I have a feeling that Nintendo was going to have Mario get involved in the opening ceremony, but the Olympic Committee had some turnover, especially with what's going on with the pandemic. So I think a lot of the opening ceremony
They
was
also had
not
some turnover because someone had to leave because they were found to be sexist,
that
and
too.
someone had to leave because they were making jokes about the Holocaust.
That too.
So
Jesus.
Yeah, there's that, and then I think also the pandemic really limited what they could do in the stadium. So I think that's why they like some of the stuff seemed really work cheesy, and really cheap is because that's what it has. So here's what they played. They played Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, the Tales series, Monster Hunter, Kingdom Hearts, Chrono Trigger, Ace Combat, more Tales, more Monster Hunter, more Chrono Trigger, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pro Evolution Soccer, more Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star Universe, more Kingdom Hearts, Nier, Saga series, Soul Calibur, and Guardius.
I heard that Activision Blizzard hired those people Keith was talking about.
I wouldn't be surprised because they're now heading up the newly created Japan office.
So yeah, shout out to the Olympics for doing that because I heard the Kingdom Hearts. I was like, what? They're playing? I was like, someone's doing this as a joke, and then I found out it was legit.
It's interesting. I think we all missed out on Lady Gaga not either. She was supposed to like go down a warp pipe or like come up a warp pipe or something. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been awesome.
I think Matt's just reliving a dream that he had the other night.
Yeah, seriously. He's just imagining Lady Gaga on some crazy heels and just
did
dancing
you guys?
the night away.
You guys saw her halftime performance, right?
Yeah, when
Like
she came down from the roof.
Yeah, it was pretty legit. Like I'm sure this would have been just as theatrical.
I was just imagining her dressed up as a parrot mushroom as well.
I guess I imagine Mario coming out of a little pipe and then like beating up all the other contestants because he abuses his brother so much. And Peach, that's why she runs away.
It's horrible.
We've been through that. Right. So, topic this week, we are going to be talking about video games that have ruined other games for us. And this isn't another opportunity for me to deride the failings of Mass Effect Andromeda. I may get into a bit of that, but
technically you can't select that.
Why not?
Because it didn't ruin it did not ruin other games because the other games have not come out yet.
That was my second selection. So
like there'd have to be another game to come out after Andromeda for you to be able to go that ruined it for me.
All right, so should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, go for it, Matt.
So the reason that that Andromeda has put me off is because I now do not care about Mass Effect 4 or 5 or whatever they're going to call it. I would have been excited had Andromeda not come out.
I feel like that's just an excuse.
It's fair.
That's it. Matt, don't have it. That's how you feel, and your feelings are valid.
Because Keith shares my feelings. I know he does.
At least now, if it's good, you'll be pleasantly surprised, right?
Exactly. A pessimist is never disappointed. That's why I live my life as a miserable bastard. So it's similar thing to Matt. Mass Effect Andromeda. I still played it for 80 hours. I don't know how. I completed pretty much everything you can possibly do in that game, but there was so much that was just not bad about it, but it was just less than what had become before. That it was just such a major disappointment in that respect that I have little faith until people start saying that whatever Mass Effect 4 or whatever they're going to call it is actually a decent game. So Mass Effect Andromeda as a dishonorable mention. Liam, would you like to go next?
Well, I guess I mean I have a few things I could say, but one I wanted to say that I know loads of people would disagree with this, and I think it's perfectly fair if you do disagree.
Well, you are the kind of resident contrarian.
Well, no, I think most people here will agree with me. I think a lot of people who enjoy what this franchise has become will probably disagree. Assassin's Creed. I used to love playing an Assassin's Creed game every year. And I still thought, releasing these games every year is way too much. I thought, oh yeah, this is exciting to play every year. I enjoy learning something about a historical period, and they're just fun and interesting every year. But the way they are now is just, I'd like to get into them, but they're just too freaking big. I can't.
It's 480 hours of game not enough for you?
Less
1,000 hours,
sometimes more.
Which one was it that put you off though? What was the one that came out there? You're like, fuck this.
It would have been the second one they released, Odyssey. It's just like, as if Origins wasn't stuffed to the brim full of content enough. They put out Odyssey. It's like, we've got to one up ourselves. You think, no, really, you should be maybe, I don't know,
we got one up
trying to stop yourselves a little bit.
Right.
Because little Timmy down the road is still playing Origins, and it's been 4 years.
This is where the kind of business model for that has crept in a bit too much into the Ubisoft's approach to live services. Because if they didn't have such a large game with quite significant level gating, they wouldn't be able to sell you XP boosters for you to skip the grind so much.
God,
so
don't get me started.
I'm the resident cynical bastard as well.
I am 100% in Liam's corner right now. Jesus Christ, hell yes. Assassin's Creed is ruined by what they've done to the series. Absolutely freaking ruined.
So mention Liam. Your thoughts on the next iteration of the Assassin's Creed approach, which is Assassin's Creed Infinity, because that's how long the game will fucking last for.
That makes me go from now I don't think I'll ever play an Assassin's Creed ever again. Like, because here's the thing is, this is all based off of my guesstimation, based off the trajectory the game series was going, and then, what Ubisoft does and what their business model is, what they announced when they were saying they're doing more live service games, is that now I see Assassin's Creed as no longer ever going to have like a definitive story, an overarching story to connect these games, because the games are basic. Like, let's be frank. Like, the story within these worlds, like the condensed story, is extremely basic, and you rely a lot. Like, that's why the Desmond story, even though some people crap on it, I think it was really good because it kept an overarching mystery continuing while you deal with these basic story plots that happen. And I also think they're running out of ideas for story plots. Like, I think the last interesting...
They can always revisit the well of Britain is bad. Let's kill British people.
Well,
because that's what tipped me over the edge with... I started playing 3, and it was almost as if America good, Britain bad, kill Britons.
But he's on the American side. That's what Americans did see that as.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was set during the Revolution.
But there was no nuance, because at that time, there would have been people from Ireland, Scotland, Wales. This was happening, what would it be, 150 years after the Highland clearances. So there would have been people there whose ancestors were Scottish, who would have been siding with the Americans.
I think, Keith...
But none of that was even touched. It was so down the line.
But Keith...
Everyone's got an English accent, just murder them.
No, but here's...
I never got that vibe from that game, to be honest.
No, I agree with Liam. And then also I would say, Keith, technology did not allow them the opportunity to really expand that world, because that map is pretty small. And it was limited by its hardware. And I think if they made the game again today, and they did it in that same style and everything, copying everything from over into the new next-gen version and not doing what they've been doing, I think they would have probably had more of a gray zone in regards to, the sides of the British and stuff.
If you're going to do that, then do it in India, when it was much more clear-cut, which is the British are mainly bastards.
But anyway, I think it's a really bad idea of what they're trying to do, because I don't know. it's almost as if they're saying like each game really doesn't matter anymore. It's like we're just gonna give you an update, not a game.
Well, so I guess it could work if there's like, here's the map of the world and different time periods, and you get to select and just go and do different quests, maybe.
I doubt that's how it's going to be.
I think it's gonna be like I think it's being like separate games just in this hub.
Well, all right. So, but if they built it like, here, you pay $20 for a base game, which is a prologue to one of the stories, right?
$20 for a base game. Are you insane? $60 is a base game.
I mean, Keith, given the size
70.
of the last game, $20 for like a quarter of one might not be so bad, right?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Right.
If they chunk it, if they've got a plan for, I don't know, 10 years worth of content. 10 years of content. We've heard that before, though, haven't we? How many times have we heard that before? Yeah, that's the thing that concerns me.
I don't think they really have 10 years planned of content. They just say they do, and now they're trying to make the plan for it now. That's the thing that irks me. Is like there is no plan. That just proved to me there is no plan for Assassin's Creed. And I agree with Liam. I think for me it was Odyssey. I mean, Odyssey like really put the dagger in my heart. But Origins was the one that was like, ooh, this is I don't like this. Don't do this. Don't go down this path.
I loved Origins, but the level gating and just how fucking massive that game was. Like, I put 50 hours and I barely hit the midpoint, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I've spent too much time and I can't. It
took me almost 5 hours to get past the prologue. The prologue. I'm like, it can't take that long to do a prologue. What the F are you doing?
It was a great story. It was a beautiful world. It was too much. At the end of 50 hours, I was done with that game. I just couldn't put any more time into it.
Here's my huge issue with this, and this isn't just my issue about Assassin's Creed, of this combat, of what they're doing currently with these games. The combat sucks. Like, I prefer the old combat of the older Assassin's Creed over this combat. And because this combat sucks so bad, because it's all button mashing. It's all button mashy. It's horrible. It's button mashy, barely any counters. Like, just use your special move when it refreshes. It's like there's no nuance to the combat system that allows it to feel tight. And because you're battling with freaking swords here, the combat needs to be tight. But anyway, almost done. But basically, like, because that is so bad, you need to balance it with good stealth, and they have freaking stupid stealth. Because you can't kill anybody if you sneak behind them. If I'm an assassin, I should be able to kill you if I get behind you and get the jump on you. It shouldn't take down like 20% of your health and then call all the guards, and then all of a sudden I'm in a brawl with people. Like, what the hell is that all about? Like, such bullshit.
I would counter that by saying that I think the combat's been pretty terrible in most Assassin's Creed games.
Well, at least there's like you have a counter system. Like the hits actually like feel like you're clashing swords with the opponent. Like it feels so much better. Like, this reminds me of Witcher 3 combat, and Witcher 3 combat is shitty.
As well, but I'm pretty sure they did rectify most of that in the latest game, Valhalla. But
I'm never going to play it because they already screwed me over.
Your interest can only go so far. At least they fixed it, I suppose.
Well, I will never say they did because I never played it, and they haven't convinced me to play it.
Yeah, I don't have the time to commit. I'm too busy playing Apex Legends, but that's my problem. I'm seeking professional help.
I'd rather shoot people with guns than to do some Viking rapping. I get you.
Yeah. Mitch, what game has ruined other games for you?
I'm going to you next because I had one and I completely forgot about it.
I mean, I've got a few.
So scared.
Actually.
I'm so scared. I had it and it was a good one too. So go.
So right, I'm going to go with a game that is actually so good it's ruined playing other games in the same genre, which is Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4 is so damn good. I've actually gone and tried to play some other side-scrolling beat-em-ups, and they just feel like playing crap. So the Battletoads.
So that was what I was going to bring up.
It by comparison, Battletoads is an absolute heap of hot garbage. I
don't think so, but
compared to Streets of Rage 4, it might be a good game, but I couldn't get through the I think I did the first stage and then I didn't even finish the second stage. I just went back to playing Streets of Rage 4. It's ruined some of my favorite gaming memories of all time. I hate Streets of Rage 4, but I also love it so much. It has ruined Final Fight for me.
Oh no.
I will say I tried to go back and play because I have the Genesis collection. I tried to go back and play the first 3 after playing 4, and it's just like, no, they did so good before.
You just can't do it. I can't believe they've ruined Final Fight for me, a game that I think I've bought 6 times across 3 different console generations.
Wow.
And I had such fond memories of playing that in the arcades years ago as well. And I can't play it. It just feels so archaic and clunky. Yes, the music in Final Fight is absolutely brilliant, but compared to Streets of Rage 4, I just can't play it. It just feels archaic. And thank you, Streets of Rage 4, for ruining a part of my childhood.
It's like giving me a preview of what I have to look forward to. Haven't played Streets of Rage 4 yet.
It's so good.
You really should.
It's such a good game.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before, but I sold my Xbox right before they put it on Game Pass, and I was pissed off. But yeah, that'll be fun in the future.
Okay, I got mine.
All right, Mitch, what do you got?
Rafa's gonna hate me.
Far Cry.
GTA.
Oh.
Which one specifically?
Well, it's GTA 5, and I'm gonna say, and it's not because I hate the game. It's that it's the same game.
Yeah,
it's literally you could have just given me an update. That's all, and I'm like, I paid $60 for this.
Well, I think that's the idea behind online, right?
Well, the online didn't exist.
Are you talking about paying for the same game again on next-gen platforms? Are you talking about from 4 to 5?
4 to 5.
Oh,
I mean, there's updates, sure. Like you have 3 characters, all that kind of stuff, new weapon. Like I get that, but at the same time, it's
you should go back and play 4.
The basic.
The premise, all of the grandfathering in of stuff like you start a mission here and you drive over here. It's filled with some tedium. So I get where you're coming from on that point. I thought you were going to use the same argument that Matt and I were talking about with Mass Effect Andromeda, which is all of you idiots still spending money on GTA 5. Stop it. Michael, we're going to get you some help. You don't need to buy, you don't need to spend all of your money every month on shark cards. Please stop.
We're going to have to take his game away like Grandma did.
You can't do that with online, though. We'd have to find where he is and cut the hard line to his house.
It's like you used to take video games away because of their absurd violence. Now you just take them away because it's making you a gambling addict.
But also, I'd say that, Liam, because there's one game that I played that made GTA seem so not as exciting anymore, which was
Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah.
God, no. God, oh my God. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 should have been on this list too. I'm not petting another fucking horse again. I don't need to live the cowboy life simulator again.
But shrinking horse test.
Yeah, boy.
But anyways, yeah. Actually, here we go. It's GTA. It's Rockstar. Let's just do Rockstar open world games. Is no longer. Is on that list because I played Sleeping Dogs, and I had no.
I'm totally with you on this.
I hate agreeing
fun. With you. No, I do, but
I know. But I had more fun with a story. I had more fun with characters. I had more fun with combat. Even though the driving is similar, where it is tedious going from back and forth, but then they involved elements where, there's things like little mini games you had to play to be able to do like things like spying on people, and you would go on dates, but then it would turn into like this race battle, and like there's like so much good that Sleeping Dogs did, and I'm so sad it never got a sequel. But
Well, that's a
but they
different
canceled the
topic.
sequel. But
That's a different topic.
Sleeping Dogs. So this is like half of Keith's and half of mine, which is Sleeping Dogs ruined GTA for me, and then GTA also ruined themselves for being the same game over and over again and not really finding ways to really evolve.
I think a lot of people forget how many different changes they made for GTA 5. Like going forward, I feel like that game still feels exceedingly modern. And it's not to shit on Sleeping Dogs, because I'm not even going to try to do that, because I love Sleeping Dogs. So it's one of my favorite games like the past 10 years. But I also love GTA 5 for completely different reasons. I don't think most of the gameplay mechanics in Sleeping Dogs would fit in a Grand Theft Auto game. And I do think if you go back and play Grand Theft Auto 4, you'd realize how cumbersome that game feels in comparison to 5, and how long-winded it feels to get into the meat of the game. Because GTA 5, you just start it, you get going from the very start. Like the first mission has you in a car chase. How long it takes you to get anywhere in Grand Theft Auto 4.
But I think you're missing the point of what I'm going for. It's not necessarily the plot of getting into the nitty gritty of things. It's the game itself is a simulation, and you can experience the same kind of simulated things in GTA 4 pretty much, except for some additional things than you could in GTA 5. And the only thing that differentiates itself is a plot story, and the plot story is not enough to say this is drastically different, and it's not.
I couldn't tell you a single mission that I played in GTA 5.
Or any GTA game.
I've played GTA 5 about 5 different times, to be honest, so I'm probably not the one to be talking to, because obviously I loved that game.
Well, Michael is probably throwing things at his monitor right now. He's throwing his shark cards at the monitor.
Hopefully, that's good. That's good. Then it'll make him stop. He can't play no more.
I also agree with Michael, because I love Red Dead Redemption 2 as well.
It was tedious. It was tedious, and I had to stop. That whole weird island section.
Oh, it was so bad.
Well, the island section was bad, but the rest of the game, I've never felt so immersed in a game world before in my life.
That's not immersion. That's not immersion.
It is immersion. You fucking ride a horse around that world and get sucked into the environment and the beautiful graphics, and it is glorious to behold.
Maybe
it just draws you in,
no,
and all of the acting and the world is so beautiful and well done.
I guess for me, it's more of a beautiful world. I guess for me, it's more the realization of my family kind of lives a similar lifestyle like cowboys do. Like they go deer hunting, we live in the woods, and it's like, I don't like this. I moved to LA because I don't like that lifestyle. So like to put me in a simulator of horses and woods and hunting and talking about how we're going to get our beer is like not my time, not my thought of a good time.
I've got this idea in my head now of Mitch as a child just lugging around hay bales to feed the horses and bags of grain. And
I did not do that, but I did log firewood constantly as a kid.
Yeah, I found elements of Red Dead Redemption 2 hugely rewarding compared to GTA 5. I can actually tell you about story missions in Red Dead Redemption 2, which I can't do in GTA 5. I did find the level of immersion crept into tedium. But that's just...
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it leans a little too hard into it, but that's me too.
If someone loves cowboy stuff and want to live the cowboy simulator, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the perfect game for them. But if someone wants to just like enjoy a cowboy game, I would never say play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Play Call of Juarez.
I would say play. Actually, one of my favorite cowboy games is Gun for the PlayStation 2. I thought that was a really good action cowboy game. Open world. I think it did it better than GTA, better than Red Dead Redemption. Actually, I went back to that game after I played Red Dead Redemption because I was like, this isn't as fun. Gun is way more fun. So if you never played Gun, go play Gun. It's a great game.
And Call of Juarez.
Wow.
Which is on offer.
Everything before the cartel. Oh, Jesus. The cartel is dreadful.
Right, Matt, what else did you have on your list before I carry on talking about Streets of Rage 4?
Final Fantasy X.
Oh.
So
Fuck you, Matt.
Yeah, fuck you, Matt.
I've got a
So
friend.
there's a point in that game where you get to the airship and Sid, and you have to fight this like dragon phoenix thing.
Actually, I'm not gonna say fuck you because I never finished Final Fantasy X.
So I remember very distinctly getting to that point in the game and being like, I can't fucking load a save and go to a world map and grind my characters. And that changed my relationship with Final Fantasy.
I'm sorry, Matt, but let me just I'm gonna call you out on your gamer card here. Do
Sure.
not do 2 save files.
Well, all right. So, but the thing about 10 is it's fundamentally different with the way that you know it's.
So did it? No. So let's think about the topic here. So
it did because I'm not interested in any modern Final Fantasy games. I bought 12. I still haven't played it.
But I still need clarification on my question here. Does it not let you do 2 separate save files where you can save once? It's like, this is my strategy for Resident Evil. You play any Resident Evil game, I tell you, do 2 save files. One, then do the next one. Then save over your other one. Then save over the next one.
Yeah, no, but that's totally different because the way that game is set up, it's not set up like any previous Final Fantasy game.
But what like, explain then?
There's literally no place to grind. It's all straight linear.
There is.
But it's not a world map. You can't like go out to a world map and grind and then go. You know what I'm saying?
Are you mean in the sense that it's quite linear compared with like say Final Fantasy VIII? In that you're just going forwards, and It doesn't give you time to just sort of explore an area.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I kind of get that. You don't like being thrust forward. You like being put in a place where you can just explore for a while, grind if you want to. You know, because it's not like the game's telling you, oh, here's a good spot to grind. You can grind, but it's not really obvious until you replay the game. Really, to be fair.
Yeah, and then try to grind in the lightning fields. That's a whole lot of fun.
Is that the best place to grind? Getting struck by lightning every 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just like to point out for anyone watching and or listening, if we get our act together and put the audio versions of the last 3 podcasts up, I've got absolutely no idea what you're all talking about because I've never played a Final Fantasy game and have no intention of ever doing so.
You should start with 10, Keith.
I do know about the lightning fields only because I've seen many walkthroughs about the lightning fields.
The Thunder Plains. Sorry,
that's it, Liam. If I were to start with one, I just asked Matt to give me one of his however many copies of Final Fantasy VII.
I could actually ship you one if you.
It would probably cost you less than you.
It's free on Game Pass, Keith. It's on
Game
Pass.
Free on Game Pass.
I genuinely.
It's even remastered for you. It's remastered on Game Pass for you.
Honestly, I think 9 would probably be your favorite if you were to play him.
Nah, I think he'd like 8.
8's my favorite.
Okay.
Vin's always talking about how great 8 is. I think.
No, he likes
9.
9. Yeah. 9. Okay.
Because it's a tail boy. But I would say the third act is atrocious.
It gets confusing, but yeah.
It's not confusing. It's not confusing. It's just stupid.
Okay, talking about Japanese games, a game that ruined other games for me, Yakuza 0.
What?
That is,
excuse me.
You can't
do that. You can't do that. Contract. You have a contract.
He's going to come. He's going to come.
I understand there are a fabulous series of games. However.
No. However, the year is not out, sir. Take that back. Retract your statement.
They're a fabulous series of games.
And they put you off of other games because it's such an amazing game.
Yakuza 0 is not on your list.
Yakuza 0 is on my list because it is so good. It has ruined every other video game for me ever. No other game could reach the potential heights of Yakuza 0, including the other entries in the Yakuza franchise. But that's only marginally.
I recommend people who play Yakuza don't start with 0. Start with Kiwami.
Yeah, 0 is kind of a slog to get through. It's a little too long.
And it's also very diluted and strange. It's not because when you play the other multiple games, you only play as one character. You're not playing as multiple. You don't run into multiple characters until you play 4. Anyway,
I forgot about that rule.
yeah, that's why we're here, to keep you in check.
so that I don't abuse my power more so than I normally do.
Maybe I should put you below us, and then Burkoff and I can look down upon you.
Well, Evan's probably sharpening his ninja stars as we speak.
Oh,
definitely his axe for sure.
He already threw them. Definitely. They're on their way.
He's such a good ninja. He threw them from Japan, and I'll end up with one in my back. And he'll just have a picture of
random spot on the street.
Kazuma Kiryu on one side and Goro Majima on the other one.
Which I also tweeted back at him to say that his axe swinging skills looks like a Yakuza minigame.
Right, who else has a game that isn't on the list that we must hype up? Because I was gonna say again, but
I mean, the question was things that ruined, like
a game that's ruined other games. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like, because I could say that Halo 4 ruined the franchise for me.
Yes.
Going forward. Well, I mean, they can still save it, but the introduction of the Prometheans in Halo 4 was a fucking huge mistake. They're the most annoying enemies ever. They just suck. They completely throw the whole game systems off.
I'm thinking I'm just gonna change. I'm gonna change yours a little bit and say.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna say the game that ruined a franchise. It's the studio that ruined a franchise for me.
That's a totally different topic.
Well,
stick to the games. Stick to the games.
Fine. Which they also made the games. Well,
they made the game.
Yeah, it's 343. I'm going off of Liam's. So
well,
343 has ruined Halo.
I don't disagree. Sorry, I mean I don't agree fully. I see where you're coming from, but I don't like to blame 343 because they had a lot of really good ideas, and it does suck, but you can tell they are really trying. And I think they will. I think they will get the franchise back on track.
Here's the thing, Liam. It's like coming up with excuse.
I would rather them have tried and do some interesting stuff that doesn't work than them to make a boring, half-assed version of the games that have come before. Because if they did that, I'd be more bored, and the franchise would be more stagnant than it is now.
But here we go. Okay. So the thing is like, it sounds like you're just making excuses for them until they finally get their shit together, which is unfortunate because here's the thing. I'm with you in the regards to, I always appreciate games. I appreciate any kind of medium that tries to try new things and push the boundaries of things, but you also have to have things that eventually work. Or you can have some elements that work here and there's potential in other elements here. They didn't even get the basic elements right.
No.
And so for them, it's like,
I think they've effectively been making 2 separate games since 4. Yeah. And the multiplayer has been spot on as far as I'm concerned. Like, but the
few issues becoming a little bit too Call of Duty like.
It's a little above that. It's just
the single player has been.
You're getting.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the multiplayer has gone from here to here. The single player has gone from here to here. Like they really are like 2 separate
who may
games.
be listening, Matt moved his hand up on one side and down on the other.
Yeah.
So the only Halo game I played was 4, and I found it dull. It was boring, linear. No, I didn't. Totally unstruck by anything.
That's the thing. Like the design choices behind 4 compared to 3, because 3 is wide open and expansive and a lot more interesting, and 4's kind of grey and chrome and boring and uninteresting.
I actually may go and download the Master Chief Collection playthrough with the other games.
Yeah.
It'll take you all day because it's like 200 gigs. But yeah,
Well,
you can
mean
download
you
them
wouldn't be able
individually.
you wouldn't be able to install that on a PS5? Oh, can you install that on my Xbox Series X? Definitely can.
Actually, you can now because they just expanded the flash storage.
Well, what they've done is they've given out the technical specifications for people to go and try it, and then give feedback to PlayStation about which ones work best. I think that's your fucking job, PlayStation.
No, they named it M.2 drive to use.
I thought they just said they've opened up the specs and people can use whatever.
No. They actually named a few products to say please use these products for your storage, and then there's prices listed out of how much it costs. But they're M.2 SSDs.
I honestly
that's me misreading that story
as well. That PlayStation's solution to expandable storage is so much better than Xbox's because you can just go and buy a hard drive. You don't have to buy the product
proprietary.
From Xbox. Yeah.
Which also will mean that the price fluctuation will go into the consumer's favor because these third-party products. I mean, it already is, yes, one, but two, it will get better. That's the thing, where Xbox has to compete with itself in regards to being like, oh shoot, we have to lower the price now, because it's.
Well, I've got 300 gigs of space on my 1 terabyte drive. I'm fine. That's more than I would ever need.
Well, the issue with storage, and we're off topic, but we'll get the issue with storage with PlayStation is basically that it's the reason why people aren't running into it with Xbox is because there's not as many people. There's more adopters going from PlayStation to Xbox than there is Xbox to Xbox. And there's more adopters that are going from also having PlayStation to PlayStation. And so when they go PlayStation to PlayStation, they want to bring over all their games or almost all their games. So then they automatically almost run out of memory instantly by doing that. So that's where the issue comes into play. It's like these consoles, and I'm sorry. I expanded my storage on my Pro to 2 terabytes when I bought this thing. So like when I get a PlayStation, I can't put the same amount of games on my PS5 if I get it whenever I can get one. So Sony is in a different situation because of they had the best selling console, and then they have now the next best selling console, and people want to put all their games over from their PlayStation 4 to their PlayStation 5 and then add PlayStation 5 games. That's just not doable.
Right. Another element of I'm going to say something bad about Game Pass, but how do I know that Xbox has hidden DRM? The install size for Crackdown 3 is 8 megabytes.
Wait, which game is this?
Crackdown 3.
Oh, weird.
The initial install is 8 megabytes, and then it does a background update, which fills in the rest of the game.
Wow.
So, right, games that's ruined other games for me. Apex Legends
has ruined all other games. Period. First it was Yakuza 0, but then you found Apex,
personally,
and it just.
I'd just like to say Apex Legends has ruined Titanfall for me because now they're not working on Titanfall. So fuck Apex Legends.
well, if you wanted anything to say, that is Titanfall 2's multiplayer, because there was the story about people hacked Apex Legends to complain about the fact that Titanfall 2's multiplayer had been basically destroyed by hackers and was unplayable. And there was a whole 2 people from Respawn working on trying to fix Titanfall 2's multiplayer.
I got one.
But in not defense of Apex Legends, but it's easy to just jump into a few games. And so yesterday I thought I'll just have a couple of games, played for 2 hours and got 2 more wins. When I could have been playing Maneater or Streets of Rage 4 as any of the new 3 downloadable content characters. I could have been playing Plague Tale Innocence, which are loads of stuff that I've got from Game Pass. What am I playing? I'm playing Apex Bloody Legends.
Okay, I got mine. And then we've only been talking for an hour, so if we wanted to tackle another topic, we could.
Just pile on Activision Blizzard for another hour.
It's a double topic
pick.
special. But anyways, my second one is, oh no, did I lose it? Oh, go Liam, I forgot it.
You just had it, dude.
I know, I just had it too.
Oh man. Well, okay. Mine was just thinking about Dead Space so much recently because of the remake. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm losing my mind. But it conjured up some bad memories from Dead Space 3. Like, I don't know. I just wiped it from my brain that game had fucking human enemies in it, and how fucking atrocious that was. Like,
yeah, but in the same way that thinking about Mass Effect Andromeda, it didn't taint. Mass Effect Andromeda didn't taint the original trilogy for me enough to say it's ruined other games for me. So
exactly.
did Dead Space 3 actually taint your opinion on 1 and 2?
It also took the story in the most ridiculous direction, and it just completely breaks all of the really well-established lore up to that point. But my cardinal sin is, Keith, is you think, oh, I'm shooting like through all of these human enemies like it's a freaking shooting gallery and not fun at all, and it's just completely in opposition to what Dead Space has been up to that point. I'm shooting for all of these people, and I think, well, at least they'll come back later in the game as Necromorphs. But no, they don't. You just go back to the areas you've been to before, and they're just lying on the floor dead. Great.
See, you should have been in the room. If Mitch had known this back then, he would have got you in the room. But
yeah, I would have been running EA by now.
Making impossible for you to have done a worse job, Mitch.
Making
impossible.
You ready for this, McWomble? Making record profits. Anyway, actually, this game also is an EA game. Oh man, poor EA. Mine is Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. Because the originals, Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2 from almost a decade ago are 10 times better than what they ever put out.
They were such good fun.
They were so good. And these are just multiplayer, stick a Star Wars skin on it, bullcrap.
I thought it was pretty funny how when the first one came out,
everyone lost their minds.
Well, no, the original Battlefront 2 spiked in users on Steam.
Yeah. They're like, this is not the same game.
It was like top 100 or something. Like everybody was playing the old Battlefront 2, which I thought was hilarious.
I tried playing Battlefront and just found it really underwhelming.
Yeah. I tried playing both of them. I couldn't even get through the single player campaign in 2.
So me neither. But here's the crazy part.
It's shit. So don't worry about it.
So I bought the first Battlefront because I was excited about it. I was like, okay, they might do it. Like it's good. It's good pedigree. Dice does good stuff. But then my friend had to buy me the sequel for me to even play it. He's like, play with me. And I was like, I really don't want to. I really don't like this. I don't want to pay for it. He's like, I'll buy it for you. So he bought it for me on Steam and sent it to me. And then I have it. That's the only reason why I have it.
I think that's a good one, actually, because those two games gave me zero faith in EA's ability to produce a good Star Wars game. If it weren't for Respawn, which is, in my opinion, is a passable Star Wars game.
I was going to say it's average at best.
Yeah, it's not good by any stretch of the imagination, but the amount of time that they had to work on it and what they put out is relatively impressive. But yeah, those two games really put a downer on any game Star Wars related until Squadrons. Yeah, let's take the bit
Oh.
that everyone seems to keep playing out of this, and let's make our own game. Because the
Well,
rest
yeah.
of all the land missions on Battlefront 2 are absolutely shocking.
Trash. I would say also a new option for a new topic. So get the spreadsheet out, Keith. Ready for this? Games I would play if my friend bought it for me. Or games I'm willing to play if my friend bought it for me.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
No. It's
Disgraceful.
you're missing
I
the
still want to
point.
see.
You're missing the point,
see.
Burkoff. It's a game you wouldn't want to play unless your friend bought it for you.
I still want to see the rest of Dan's playthrough on that. That's why.
He's never gonna get it done. It's just not happening. You just have to accept that fact. It's just never gonna happen.
I just wanted to mention that Star Wars Battlefront 2 was the game that finally made me stop pre-ordering games.
Thank God. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, I'm still going.
I
I'm
learned
still going to
my
pre-order
lesson the hard way.
I'm still going to pre-order a few games, but I don't pre-order as many games as I don't pre-order everything, but I will pre-order the ones that I think are slam dunks going into it. So like if I'm gonna Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I'll pre-order it. I trust it will be good.
I pre-ordered Mass Effect Legendary Edition and Ratchet and Clank this year, so but I got exactly what I wanted out of those. I knew they'd be fun.
Yeah,
and I would have wanted to play them even if they ended up being crap anyway.
If I'm not sure, I'm not going to pre-order it. It's got to be a slam dunk.
Fools perpetuating
those poor unfortunate souls.
Don't pre-order stuff. It's not like you're not going to get a copy. It's not like old collector's editions where there is only limited runs of stock.
Well, I guess technically,
particularly if you're pre-ordering digitally.
I guess I only pre-order it because I want it. I only pre-order it because I want it shipped to my house day of instead of waiting a few days after. So, like an example, I was gonna buy Mario Golf, so I just pre-ordered it on Amazon and they shipped it to my house and it arrived the day the release came out instead of waiting 3 more days to play it because my friend was already playing it. Like that's when I would pre-order.
The preload is also a bitch, especially if you have a slow internet connection. Like I had Ratchet and Clank all installed and ready to go like about a week before the game even came out. I just hopped on and played it for like 3 hours at midnight.
And then Keith, also being in LA, there is one other thing. There is a store. I will not name the store. There is a store that
Other stores are available.
Huh?
Other stores are available.
But here's the thing. This store, if you pre-order it, whenever it comes to them, if it gets there early, you can go pick up your copy early. So I'm able to I played Ghost of Tsushima 3 days before you all ever got to play it, not because Sony gave me a copy, because the store gave it to me.
I did pre-order Ghost of Tsushima.
The hypocrisy.
But then I my rule of not pre-ordering stuff came in after that.
I don't believe you. Roll the tape. Roll the tape. I swear you've said it before in many past episodes before Ghost of Tsushima came out.
I think Keith's been saying that since at least 2014.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, the new thing is it's almost as if the games industry is telling us not to buy games day one. That's the new thing.
Well, because they're going to be free to play, so you don't even have to.
Yeah, well, games that have ruined other games for us. Was it Marvel's Avengers?
I mean, I knew that was going to be shit, so it didn't ruin anything.
Well, actually, you ready for this hot take? I think Marvel's Avengers has ruined Guardians of the Galaxy for me.
I don't know. Guardians looks good.
Because I am very scared to purchase that game because of how that gameplay looks. It looks so wonky and so crummy like Avengers did that I'm like, ooh, this combat does not look fun. This combat looks janky.
Just gonna say, this is quite funny and random, but I started playing Avengers on Friday because they're currently having a free gameplay weekend where you download the game and play it for free. and I think I've played about 6 hours now. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's really not that bad.
Are you playing through the campaign section, or are you playing through the grindy bullshit?
Through the campaign, and I feel like as long as the campaign's as good as it's been so far, I get to the end of it. I feel like, I guess I've probably played this for 8 hours. Been a good time. Resell the game. No harm, no foul. I think everybody is a bit overly critical of that game because of the horrible online features and bullshit. But there is like a really competent, good single player game in there. Not really good, just good. But it's not horrible and it's not like spectacular.
But that's the thing that you kind of just literally made our point though, because here you have the best element is good, not great. And then you said they have horrible online elements. Now people audio listeners, my hand is halfway up in the air, and now I put my hand way lower, and guess what? It drags down the score to be horrible.
No, but that's my point though. Is if you buy it just to play it as a single player campaign, you'll have a perfectly fine time.
But who would pay $60? Who would pay that much money for just a good single, just average?
I mean, nobody. I'm currently playing it for free.
Don't perpetuate the idea that games as a service is actually a good idea and consumer friendly.
If you bought it right now for 30 quid and then just resold it straight after you're done, I think you'd be perfectly satisfied.
You wouldn't get any money for it though. You would get like $2.
Well, or just throw it in the fucking bin.
No, don't, because that's bad for the environment.
Yeah. Recycle them.
The reason that I mention Marvel's Avengers as ruining other games is that it's severely tainted anything else that any other studio might do with the Marvel franchise. I'm concerned about... I liked what I saw of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm concerned that what I saw was a very heavily edited promo, and I've never removed my cynical hat. It's firmly stitched to my head. So until more information comes out about that game, more people get their hands on it, and there's reviews out, I will reserve judgment, because Marvel's Avengers, it's basically tainted my opinion on what people will do with those IP.
Interesting question about that game. Does anybody think that game was possibly not a single player game a year ago?
Oh,
and
hell
then they just decided, Avengers came out. Nah, we only play Star Wars.
That's how janky it is. That's how janky it is. That's why I was like, they literally just did we made character models for Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, let's make a game for it. Here, just copy and paste them in here instead of putting them in Marvel's Avengers. And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll make it multiplayer still. We got the base. Oh, whoop. We are getting trashed. Let's change this.
Again, we won't know until No Clip does a documentary about it at some point 5 years down the line. But I got the impression that it may have moved from a 4-player co-op adventure to you control Star-Lord and
then you'll give them commands.
Yeah, you can command them to do attacks via button prompts.
I feel like that's something Jason Schreier could just come out and be like, it was originally single player. And
Jason, we have one job for you. I know you're listening.
Just find out.
We are the only global gaming podcast. If someone of your pedigree would do anything with his career, it's to listen to the only global gaming podcast
that talks about two things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games.
Now, I will have to message Rafa to say, cut this section out, and then let's tweet this to Jason Schreier and see what he says.
But you see, I've also got to ruin it and say that Jason Schreier's a bit of a prick as well.
Just cut it right before Liam
Pixel
said
Pints,
that.
Pixel Pints does not condone anything that Liam says on our behalf.
But I condone it.
Yeah, well, which is fine for you to do it because it's your opinion.
But it is not fact.
No. Right. Does anyone else have any other games that they believe have ruined other games for us?
Um, this is a bit of a it's less of it's ruined the other games for me and is more turned it into a semi-abusive relationship. Elder
Final
Scrolls
Fantasy
Online.
Seven. Okay.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls Online. Because it's done so well and they have tweaked it enough towards the more what you would expect an Elder Scrolls game to be that I keep going back, even though the combat is still shit and the leveling sucks. The stories are so good. And I feel like they're probably going to mainstream six enough that it's not going to really feel or have the mechanics of an Elder Scrolls game, but the story and the lore and the side quests and stuff is probably going to be so good that I'll still play it.
Well, since we've gone in the Bethesda route, you opened the can of worms.
Fallout 76.
You asked for it, Matt.
I was gonna say Fallout 4.
Not
Fallout
76.
Not-
Are you entirely sure?
Well, because I never touched 76 because of 4. So, like,
That's interesting.
Well, I mean,
it prevented it from even happening, Keith. It prevented
but Mitch, shouldn't you be saying that Fallout 4 is the greatest game of all time because it stopped you from playing the worst game of all time? It's like, what a blessed game.
Because Fallout
Stop me from
3,
playing
I will give
76.
them credit. Fallout 3 was a fun, interesting game. And then I played Fallout 4. And it was the same game. It's Grand Theft Auto all over again. It's the same game.
No,
And not only that, it was buggy. It was crappy.
Oh, but they're all
Story
buggy
was
now.
the story is no longer interesting when you have the nuclear wasteland is not interesting the second time around. It's only interesting the first time around. They don't do enough to it to the world to make it fascinating and captivating and want to make you explore a desert land a second time around.
Have you played New Vegas, Mitch?
I was going to suggest New Vegas
because that is the argument against what you just said.
No,
I've not. Fabulous game.
No, I've not played New Vegas.
It's also an Obsidian game, so yeah.
You can easily make a great Fallout game,
but here,
just hasn't happened.
I don't count Obsidian with them. Like, they're not.
I don't know. Yeah, this will be interesting because now that Microsoft owns half the world and all of those developers,
and apparently most of our genetic code, if you believe what certain people in America think about vaccinations, utter morons.
But no, New Vegas 2
Please
being
get
made by Obsidian could potentially happen.
Well, Obsidian are making.
And now that Chris Avellone has basically cleared his name, they could hire him to write for New Vegas 2.
Well, here's the thing.
But Obsidian are too busy making the Outer Worlds too.
If they gave it to NXL, because NXL are very underrated. I think that'd make a great Fallout game.
Yeah, they could.
I have a feeling that Phil Spencer will never let Obsidian make any kind of like Fallout game ever. Because I don't think he wants Tom Howard to create some kind of like drama within the crew of being like, why are you letting them make this game? Like it's
I don't think
I think he would find that undermining the reason why they acquired them in the first place. And I think Phil Spencer is like, I don't want the beef. I don't want the beef. I already have enough beef around me. I don't need more.
Mitch, you're forgetting that Todd Howard allowed them to make Fallout 76, which I think means that he doesn't really give that big of a shit.
But here's the thing: it's his piece of shit. That's the difference.
Well, technically, right? This is the thing with Fallout 76. Technically, the game was made in their Austin studio.
But
as much as they like to say that it was made internally at the Maryland branch.
But here's the thing: he likes to take ownership of it. So if it's a piece of shit, he wants that piece of shit to own it. He wants to own the shit.
Well, actually, because Jason Schreier wrote about this, apparently he wasn't even supposed to do the presentation for 76 that they originally did, but they said, we need you to polish this turd for us with your voice at the presentation. With your star power. Yeah.
So I will say this now, and this will be like my bold prediction. Like, my bold prediction is there is no Switch Pro, and I've been correct on this. So you conspiracy theorists about Switch Pro, it doesn't exist. doesn't exist. But anyways,
I never thought one did.
Yeah, me neither. There's always going to be just the sequel to the Switch, and it's going to be a new system, new generation for Nintendo. But anyway, that I will say this bold prediction: Obsidian will never be allowed to make a Fallout game, even a spin-off. They will never let them touch it. That's why, why would they let them make Avowed? They wouldn't.
Well,
my problem with that, you saying that, is that I think they'd totally be allowed to make a Fallout game. I think they would be let to make a Fallout game. I just don't think they want to. They've got
the question is,
you're all wrong. Obsidian should be making a new fucking KOTOR game. That's what they should be doing.
Well, I mean,
I agree with that. Yeah. No, yeah. The question would be, does Obsidian in the current configuration with the people who are at the top now, do they want to do that? And I don't know if they do.
Even so, I think if they wanted to, they wouldn't be allowed to.
What I really want to know is, do the executive officers at Bethesda promote bullying, harassment, and discrimination? Because it seems to be everywhere else. Yeah. So let's lift all the rocks and see what's underneath. Because we do love us some games. And we'd prefer that they would be made in an atmosphere by people who are actually well compensated, cared for, and cared about. There we go.
But sorry, but I just want to. I almost didn't finish my point. I know you're trying to move us forward. I know, Keith. I know you.
Was it that obvious?
I know you. But I'm just saying that I think even yes, I agree with you. They probably won't ask to do one. But I think if they did, they wouldn't be allowed to, because I think that would be muddying the waters in regards to what their studios do. In regards to Bethesda will make Bethesda properties, and that's their franchises. Obsidian will make Obsidian properties, and those are their franchises. They're not going to let them cross do different. They're not going to let craziness. They're not going to let Obsidian do the next Halo game, because that's 343's thing. That's Microsoft's thing, is they designate a franchise to a studio and says that's only what you can do. You cannot do anything else.
Well, yeah, but
that's not been proven now with Fable.
I mean, the Coalition are working on something that isn't Gears of War,
but they're still working on Gears of War. They can still work on other stuff. There's a property that is assigned to them. And Fable, that's the thing. That's adjustment, but they don't own that same property. They don't own the same studio. They shut it down.
I get where you're coming from, which is Bethesda. We don't know what was written into Bethesda's contract about, say, who has final veto over IP decisions. Mm-hmm. So it could be that Big Phil goes to Todd and says, "All right, Todd, mate, how's it going? I want Obsidian to make a Fallout game because they did a good job last time with that New Vegas in it." And Todd says, "Nah, mate, contract decisions on IP."
Scarlett Johansson to Disney contract.
I mean, maybe there's really no fan currency with your example though, Mitch. There is fan currency with Microsoft coming out and saying Obsidian is going to do the next Fallout game.
Yeah, and Bethesda game studios are busy with Starfield and Elder Scrolls for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're kind of missing the point around capacity as well. So Obsidian are making stuff. Okay, they might not be making a new KOTOR game, which they fucking well should be.
They should just cancel Grounded.
No, screw Avowed. Screw Avowed and make KOTOR.
Well,
yeah. Do we really need two Skyrim clones?
No.
Competing against one another on the same
platform. God no. Especially when we get one, and then 3 years later we're gonna get the other one. It's not even
three. Yeah. We'll get Avowed 2024. We'll get Elder Scrolls 2030 maybe.
That's still sad that we're waiting until 2024 to start seeing some Microsoft Studio stuff. Just breaks my heart.
Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't, because I've got tons of stuff to play on Game Pass and Apex Legends.
You've got Starfield next year and Forza Horizon this year. And it's not too bad.
2 games?
And Apex Legends. Game Pass is an amazing platform. It's got all the Yakuza games on there now, which are a fabulous series of games. Everyone should go and play them. Just maybe not Zero first. Kiwami first.
Well, technically, I don't think Game Pass is going to get good until next month. Or sorry, this month. Or this month. This month. We're in the new month. With Hades coming out, and then also we have Psychonauts 2 is coming out this month as well.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But then probably 2 months later, I'll cancel my subscription because they won't have any good games coming. So
that's blasphemy. And on that note,
I enjoyed your face on that one. Being like, is it coming? Is it? Is Mitch prepped? Hell yes, Mitch is prepped. You ready? Here we go. The funny part is, Burkoff, is that for you, there is a delay from when you hear the music, so you always miss the boo-doo sound every single time.
That's funny.